Welcome to our Parent Academy session on supporting your K-2 readers at home. My name is Eileen Swetnam. I am a reading specialist with Duval County Public Schools, and my specialty within that is kindergarten, first grade, and second grade students. So I am going to share my screen and we will get started. So tonight we're going to discuss why you should support your young reader at home. So if you ever wonder why your teachers are assigning students reading homework, and often about 20 minutes, well, there is a well-known study by scientists Nagy and Herman that indicates students who read at least 20 minutes daily have a clear literacy advantage over kids who read less or don't read at all. And I want to show you a graphic that really illustrates what I just read to you, or what I just said to you. So 20 minutes of reading. If you have a student who reads 20 minutes each day, and this is for pleasure, their comic books, they could be reading the funny pages in the paper, anything at all, just 20 minutes each day, that adds up to 3,600 minutes in a school year, or 1,800,000 words. That puts them in the 90th percentile of readers. Student B, who only reads 5 minutes each day, and this is extra outside of school, will have 900 minutes in a school year of extra reading, which adds up to 282,000 words, puts them in the 50th percentile. And then you look at student C, who reads 1 minute each day. That's 180 minutes in the school year, and only 8,000 words outside of what they've read, what has been read to them and presented to them in school, puts them in the 10th percentile. By the end of 6th grade, student A will have read the equivalent of 60 whole school days. Student B will have read only 12 school days. Which student would you expect to have a better vocabulary? Which student would you expect to be more successful in school and in life? And I want to repeat that one more time. This is not school assignments or forced reading. This is any reading 20 minutes a day. So if you think about it and your child comes home and says, I don't have any homework today, they should always be reading that 20 minutes each day. And the beauty of it is they can pick the books, they can choose. Another reason we should be encouraging our students to read at home is the importance of wide reading has on the knowledge deficit. So I'm just going to take a minute and let you read that quote, and then we're going to discuss it. So I'm going to break this down for you just very quickly. Whether or not readers understand a text depends far more on how much background knowledge and vocabulary they have relating to the topic. And I just want to stop there for a second. So for readers to understand a text, the more important thing is their background knowledge and vocabulary than how much they have practiced comprehension skills in school. So the more well-read they are and the more they know about different topics, the better they will be able to perform in school. And how do you get that? By reading at home. Adding to the reading they're doing in school, getting them to read at their interest level, talking to them about what they see around them. There was a study that showed there were students, high readers in a class that were reading above grade level and students who were reading below grade level. The higher readers were given a text on baseball, but none of them understood baseball. They had no background knowledge in baseball. The students who were reading below grade level were all very skilled at baseball and understood the game. When they were both given a text about baseball and then given a test afterwards, the students who were reading below grade level did better on the test because they had the background knowledge. So they did better just from the background knowledge. It's a really important piece of the puzzle and will definitely give your students a leg up. So when I'm telling you that we want, we want you to be encouraging your children to read at home, and they can read what they want to read, where can you find book suggestions? Because sometimes when I'm trying to think about it, my mind will just go blank. And also, a lot of us are working and we've got a lot to do. Maybe there's other children at home and we just can't find it out of our own head. There are tons of websites and places you can look for really great book selections. And I've come up, this was one link that I found online. It said book resources to help parents find great children's books. And one of the links it included was this one, the best children's books. And I am going to show you that link. So this link just lists, it was created by teachers. And this link or this list was created by teachers of books they had used over the years in their classrooms that the students loved the most. And you can see that this book is, these book lists are given in many different categories. So we have just picture books. These are by reading level. If you've ever heard that, we're going to talk about that a little later in the presentation. But these, you can click on this link and it will show you books that are leveled for your child's reading level. There are Caldecott winners. These are books that are known for their illustrations. So if you have budding artists in your home or children who love art, you can come in here and all the book suggestions here have won awards for their illustrations. By subject area, if you have students who love math, you can just find books on math. Now, these books, you can find them for sale, but I'm going to show you other websites where you can find these books for free. I just wanted to show you, these are great ideas. You can, are a great website you can use to find ideas on books your students might like to read. Another website was Time Magazine created 100 best children's books of all time. So these are where you might remember some from if you were a reader in your life. These are classics that you might find and your children might enjoy, and they come with a little synopsis of what the book is about. So you can just click through. They are classics, they're new books, and this is a Caldecott winner. Like I was telling you before, the illustrations in this book have won awards, but it just shows you what the book might be about so you can get a head start on what your child might like or what you might like to read to your child. And then the last one is one that we're pretty familiar with. It's Amazon, and they've also compiled the best children's books of 2020. So this one, the best children's books of all time, are a lot of your classics. I think you can kind of see that this is where the wild things are. This one is the Amazon list will show you some new books that are out there now that maybe you weren't familiar with. And these are broken down by ages. So if you have really young ones at home, you can look at their book list here or up into our school-age children. And again, of course, Amazon can sell them to you, but mainly I wanted to show these pages to you so you could get some ideas of books you might like to explore further. And then when I click on that one, it just shows you a whole bunch of books for children at that ages 6 to 8 that you might be interested or your child might be interested in. So that was a page. This page with these links are just showing you different ideas you could get. If you choose to buy them, that's fine. But there are many other places you can go to find books that you don't have to buy. And we'll get to that in just a minute. For example, right here, this website, Storyline Online, has many of those books that I just showed you on those lists, but they're read by celebrities. So for example, Catching the Moon is read by Kevin Costner and Jillian Estelle. The Hula Hoop Queen is read by Oprah Winfrey. And I want to show you this website so you can see how absolutely amazing it is. So all I did was go to storylineonline.net, and I can leave these links for in the chat so you can find them later. But you find a book, maybe from one of those book lists that you decided that you might really like to listen to, or your child might really like to listen to. You can click on it. Let's see a good one. Let's do Hula Hoop Queen with Oprah Winfrey. And you can just click on this book. This is free, and she will read it. That 20 minutes of reading a night can be done by your student, it can be done by you, or it could be done by a celebrity. So this does not have to be a difficult, it doesn't have to be more work for you. The point is to get that language in front of your students and have them listening to books. And you could see from the video, so when you're selecting those texts, so you have your book list and you're helping your child come pick a book to read, and you're deciding that, or you're on Storyline Online and you're trying to find a book to read. Here are 3 different pieces of the puzzle that I want you to think about when you're helping your student pick out a book. So you want this at home for this extra reading. You want it to be fun, engaging, and interesting. You have to know that at school, they don't get a lot of choice in what they're reading, because the teachers, they have a job to do and something to teach your students. They try and make it engaging, but the teacher is a lot of time choosing the text. When you're encouraging your student to read at home, you want it to be fun and exciting and interesting to them. The reading level should not be your primary consideration, but it could be in there. If you want your student reading it themselves, you can ask their teacher for what their independent reading level is, and then you can use that to pick out the books that you're looking at. And the last check mark is the most important, and that's choice. Let your child make the choice on the book they want to read for this extra reading that we're asking them to do. Let them have choice. Let it be fun, engaging, and interesting. You do not need to set parameters on this. If they want to read Captain Underpants, they can read Captain Underpants. If they want to read a Superman comic, let them do it. Just get them reading. If they want to watch Oprah Winfrey read that story, let them do that. Make it interesting and fun for them so they hear that language coming at them. When we were talking about your child's reading level, these numbers are what that's about. These are set by a program that we use in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. It's called Achieve 3000. And if your student is reading at the Lexile levels in the middle here, by the end of the school year, they are on track to graduate high school reading at grade level. So you can see for 2nd grade, these numbers, their teacher might give you those numbers, and then you could look for books within those numbers. And here as well. And I am actually going to go back. No, I'm not going to do that right now. But just know that's where your levels start, but that is not your only consideration. That is just one of them. If you want your student reading the book themselves, you can ask the teacher what their Lexile level is or what their reading level is. He or she will give you this number, and then when you're searching through those different sites I showed you earlier, you can find books that they'll be able to read independently. However, that's just one of your choices. More important is interesting, fun, and engaging, and that the child makes the choice. Okay. So Speaking of fun, good books make reading fun. How can we encourage our students to engage in wide reading out of school? Make it fun. Parents who read aloud to their children are teaching literacy concepts simply by sharing books. So when you're reading with your child, encourage your children to listen, ponder, make comments, and ask questions. So you're not reading to get it finished, you're reading to engage with your child. And like I said earlier, if you don't have time to read it to them, you can go to that Storyline online and the book can be read to your student without you, and then maybe talk about it later. Be flexible enough to quickly abandon a book that does not appeal after a reasonable try at reading it. So if you're reading a book with your child and you're not liking it or they're not liking it, move on. You tried, move on. If you've gone to the teacher and she's given you a reading level for your child, you find a book that's at that level, but maybe it's too hard, or maybe it's too easy, or maybe it's just not what your child thought they wanted, just move on. This should be an enjoyable, fun experience for your student. Picture books are good at any age. So your second grader, of course, would like a picture book. If you have older students, they can like a picture book. Don't think that these picture books are just for kindergarten students. Anybody can enjoy Where the Wild Things Are. Children need the thrill of imagining, of being in someone else's shoes, a different character, or going on an adventure. They want to experience the delight and amazement that comes from hearing playful language. For children, reading must be equated to enjoying, imagining, wondering, and reacting with feeling. If not, we shouldn't be surprised if they refuse to read. So let your child sometimes choose a book or a story or a book that they want you to read to them. Just something exciting. When my children were small, we read, I think we started in about first grade, and we read all the Harry Potter books, and we read all of Little House on the Prairie. And she was too young to read them herself, but we would just enjoy them together. And that's what I immediately thought of when it was laugh, cry, shiver, and gasp. You can also find stories to reflect what your children have felt themselves. So if you've moved to a new school, there are books that you can find that show characters moving to a new school or feeling lonely or losing a tooth. There are books that cover all aspects of the human experience. And if we find books that our children enjoy, they will in turn love to read. And all of this information came from Reading Rockets. It's a professional website that teaches teachers and parents about literacy. So there are a couple skills that go with reading. We've talked about finding a book, reading to your student, or getting someone else like Oprah Winfrey to read to your student. And then we talked about how to choose that book and make it fun and engaging. There are other skills around reading that we want to build for students to make them successful at school. And these are called foundational activities that build strong readers. One of the foundational skills for young readers is rhyming words. And I was a kindergarten teacher for many years. It's actually a difficult skill to teach young children. But the more they hear it and play with that language, the easier that skill becomes for them. And then they can transfer that skill into reading books on their own. And when I think of rhyming books, I always think of Dr. Seuss. And he has some very, very fun, easy reads for you to enjoy with your child and your child to enjoy reading themselves. The Cat in the Hat, I think, is leveled for first grade. You could probably read that. A first grader who's on level could read that to you. The other thing about it, it's a book that the language and the rhythm of that book is so fun that they tend to memorize it, and they can, imagine me doing air quotes, read it back to you without actually technically reading each word, because they've memorized it and played with the language. Another activity you can do for rhyming is just singing songs that rhyme with them. Now this one, so I'm going to tell you this again. You're singing a song with them. I included the cover of a book. That's Raffi. He does a lot of children's songs, but you don't even need words in front of you. A foundational skill for reading is being able to hear language. And so if you're singing Down by the Bay or Hey Diddle Diddle with your child, they're going to start picking up on that language and understanding how words rhyme just because it's fun. And then when they come back to school and they're doing activities about rhyming, they've got all those warm feelings of playing with those words with you, and they bring that to school. And then the final one I have for rhyming is nursery rhymes, which many of us grew up on. But there's, again, this is building that foundational skill of playing with language, memorizing. Your child can memorize Humpty Dumpty or memorize Jack and Jill, and then they eventually will start pointing to the words if you have those in front of you that they've memorized. And then the next step they have is associating that word with the word on the page with the word that came out of their mouth, and just like magic, they start reading. And all of it has been fun and, again, air quote, playing with words and language. So this page, this site is where I'm going to start showing you different ways you can find books. I showed you those book lists, but those were all just lists, and then they gave you options to buy books. The ones you see in front of you right now are lists that you can use to find activities or books that are free for you. So the first one I want to show you is the public library, jackspubliclibrary.org. All you need to access this is your child's student ID, which the Duval County gives to them, and there are no late fees. So you can check out books through this, or you can have books, fun activities to do online as well. So this is the public library website, and you can see that you can find a ton of books here, obviously, but there are also many, many different activities. And you can search for books to check out, and you can have them waiting for you at your local library. Another thing you can do here is access the digital library. And when you come into the digital library, this is obviously all the different digital resources they have for you that you can enjoy from your own home. And the one that I really liked was this one, Tumble Book Library for younger children. And you can just click on it. And it is animated talking picture books, and hopefully you can hear this time. So these are all the books they have that can be read to you or to your child. I mean, you can enjoy them too. So we'll pick one. Let's do this one. That's interesting me. And then you see it comes up. It gives you a little synopsis of the book, lets you know what it's about, and then you can have it read online. And I hope it.
Time for bed, said Mother. Yuri looked at the clock. Although she could count sheep, the hands and numbers on the clock's face puzzled her. How do you know? She asked. Mother thought for a moment. When I was your age, I had trouble telling time too. Your great-grandmother, my Harmony, told me a story about a special group of animals and a compassionate mountain that used the sun and the moon to tell time. Maybe that story would help you too. As the mist rose with the morning sun, a child struggled.
So you can see that you can have, this is yet another book, just like the one that you couldn't hear with Oprah, but this is another book that's being read, and the illustrations from the book are being animated to keep the interest. It also is highlighting the words that are being read, so your child can start to follow along as the reader is reading these words. So I thought this was a really interesting site that could be used for that 20 minutes of reading, and that's all we're looking for. It doesn't have to be difficult. So I'm going to lower that one down. And that was just at the public library, jackspubliclibrary.org. And there were a ton of resources on that page for you to explore from home, or to go and get your books yourself. Another resource that I found interesting, I'm watching the time because I want to leave time for questions, is Khan Academy. Now, I knew this one from my middle school child when I had to relearn algebra to help her learn. I was not aware that they had this for younger students, but they do, and it is really, really good. I'm going to find it for you, Khan Academy. Okay. So when you open this website at khanacademy.org, you'll come to this page. And I'm already signed up, so you may have to sign up for it, but it's free. Where did I go? Oh, I went to courses, and then you can see all the different courses that are available in Khan Academy. But if you go all the way over to the right, you'll see Reading and Language Arts, and you see up to second grade, and then second grade, which is our focus today, but you can go all the way up to ninth grade. But when you go into second grade, up to second grade, it takes you to their page and shows you different activities that you can do with your child. So you can make printables to show fun family activities if you want to do that, free summer learning programs, second grade lessons, and that was the one. That was the one that I wanted to show you.
Into a cane, who can turn a pan into a pane.
I'll stop that for a second. Let's look at second grade lessons, because I want to start it where you'll be able to see it. So you can see all the different activities that they have available to you for second grade lessons. And this is a fun way to explore this website. So I would encourage, here too. I would encourage you to explore and look through this website. It's got a lot of different activities for you to do with your students to get them ready to read. And it's free. It's wide open school. Okay. The last thing I'm going to show you from this page are reciprocal teaching bookmarks. These are bookmarks that you can access through, that was that same website where I got the research earlier in the presentation. And these are bookmarks that you can keep for yourself to help you ask questions, to help your child understand what they're reading. And when I'm saying that, I want to very much caution you, you're not asking those questions as a test for your student. It's just to give you something to talk about. So if you want them to make some predictions, you could say, if there's a title of the book, you could say, I see the title is that hula hoop that Oprah Winfrey was reading. What do you think this story might be about? And then they would look at the cover of the book and think about the title and kind of make predictions forward in the book, but more as just talking about the book rather than testing them about the book. And I can show you that. Maybe I can't. Yeah, I can't show you that right now, but that will be, I can provide that link in the chat later on. But these are excellent. But again, the reading that we want you doing in this 20 minutes that we're encouraging is fun. And when I say reading for the younger students, that also counts for rhyming and singing and talking about the pictures as well. Another aspect of reading for your very, very young students, another foundational skill, is phonics. And phonics is the bit of language. These are the smallest pieces of language, including letters and letter sounds. So if you have really young students at home, this is really important pre-reading skills. But it can get a little technical, and it can get a little tedious to try and make them memorize these things. So I picked out a couple websites to show you that make this phonics teaching fun. And one of them is called Teach Your Monster to Read. And this one was the silliest website, but it was so fun. So I signed up for it, and you can see my name is there again, but again, it was free. And then I went into it, yes, I went right here, and I signed my grown daughter up as my student. It didn't matter. She didn't need to be attached to a school or anything. So if you have really little ones at home, you can do that as well. And I picked champion reader for her, but there are a couple different levels that you can pick for your child. And then it's just fun to play, but the kids are learning as they're doing this. And this would count as that pre-reading foundational skills to get your student up to reading on their own. And it's just going to take a second, but it was just so silly and fun. And I think it would probably be pretty engaging. Okay. That's the monster.
It's Jessica, the famous wise woman. She says she's so happy you got her message and have come to help. She says a horrible green goblin prince is turning everyone into... Oh no! There he is! Look out for the prince! He's turning everyone into blocks of ice. She says she can help you find a spell book to set them free, and she will send you messages to read so you can understand her. Show your monster what to do. Read the message out loud and let's go!
So your student would read go up, and then they'd send their monster up.
You found a knowledge tree. Listen to what it says so your monster can learn new things. You already know that
A.
can look like this, as in
Sail.
it can also look like this,
A.
as in
Play.
use this knowledge to find the spell book.
And then you have to follow the stars again.
It's Miss Jumble. Can you help her find her marbles? Give Miss Jumble all the marbles that sound like...
A.
I don't quite know how to stop that, so I just put it down. But you could see that those were some pretty high Phonics skills, AI saying the long A sound and AY saying the long A sound, that would be a second grade skill, but super fun to play with for your child. So, and that is free. Another website that's kind of fun for these same kind of skills, and some of you may be familiar with it, is starfall.com. This is also free. And I will show this to you. These are all, you can go into the kindergarten and pre-K or the grades 1 and 2 and 3. And if I click on those, I have a ton of activities that my child can do. And these are all self-paced. Your child would be able to do these themselves, and they're free. So they could just click on A if they wanted to learn about the A sound.
A. A. Ah. A.
And you get the idea. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The kids pick it up pretty fast. There's books for them to read, and there's different games for them to play, but these are all pre-reading skills, or reading skills themselves if it's a book for them to read. And then the last one I have is the iReady program, which if your student is enrolled in DCPS in Duval County, you may have seen their iReady homework, or maybe they've logged into iReady through blended learning. And these are also the same phonics and pre-reading skills. That's where they would learn those from class. I want to move forward a little faster so that I have some time for questions if there are any, and I want to drop these links in the chat. Real life reading at home, the 20 minutes doesn't necessarily have to be a book. It could be a cookbook. So reading a recipe, that is actually a sequenced story. It also is cause and effect, and those are very high level reading skills, but all you're doing is following a recipe the way it is. So working with your child and cooking together and reading a recipe counts as the reading. Grocery shopping, if they make a list or they're reading the products in the store, that's reading as well and talking about it. Eating out, reading the menu, all of this counts as reading. Another way to enhance your students' reading is to have them write about what they read or write about whatever they want. If they can think about a word, sound it out, and write it down, that will definitely help their reading at school. So again, you see the word choice. Giving the child choice at home, if it's outside of their homework, if you want them to write a little bit, it's really important that they're choosing what they write about. Some ideas that you can use is to write down daily events, maybe just a little diary, how you felt about your day. Think about topics they love: friends, school, home, sports, themselves, you. Those are all things kids really love to write about. You could also keep a journal, maybe on the same thing. So if you're writing daily events and they're writing daily events on Friday, you could maybe compare and see how each of your weeks went. And then you read them together when it's time to share. You could also have them write a note to anyone. It could even be your mailman. Just something that's fun and gets them thinking and writing. Just to give you a heads up, our district has adopted a new curriculum. It's called the Benchmark Advanced Curriculum. And this is a new, brand new curriculum. It follows the same topic across 3 weeks, and every grade level is learning about the same topic. So most of the students are going into Unit 2, and so it's all about characters. So kindergarten is learning that every story has a character, so what a character is, and that stories have characters. First grade is learning that there are many different kinds of characters, And then second grade is starting to understand that the characters face challenges and shape the way the story moves. Um, this is, okay, so I told you it goes across grades. It goes with the new Florida Best benchmarks, the new standards that were commissioned by our governor. And it's meant to maximize the potential of every student. So when they're learning those phonics pre-reading skills, those will attach to the stories they're reading. And then when they do their writing, they will write about those same stories. So it's a holistic curriculum. And that one is it. So to sum it up, stay involved and connected with your school and your teachers. Take advantage of all the resources, including those online. Read a variety of literary and informational texts with your child. And I'm just going to break that one down just a little bit. Literary is fiction, so just stories, and informational text is nonfiction, so anything real. Kids love magazines, and surprisingly, they love encyclopedias. They want to know what's going on in the world around them. And if you find what they're interested in, if you have a child who's interested in space, they will eat up nonfiction about space. And they're learning the entire time. So thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to seek out ways to support your child academically. This year has been quite different, and as a result, there is a higher level of anxiety around testing than in previous years. We will get through this. Your child's success is of the utmost importance to us, and we are available to support you in any way we can. If you have additional questions, please reach out to your child's teacher or school. I can also be reached at dayk@duvalschools.org. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
So that was a voiceover from my supervisor, Christy Day. But the information you see on the screen is my information. I am Eileen Sputnam. I'm a Duval County ELA specialist, reading specialist, and this is my email address.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the 20 minutes a day, does it matter? So like my son tends to gravitate towards the same 10 books or so every day. Is
Mm-hmm.
that important to get variety in, or just is it more important that he's reading something he wants to read?
I would have him read what he wants to read. If he loves those books and memorizes those books, keep letting him read them.
Hi, my question is regarding the reading level. I have a
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten daughter who is doing the virtual school because of the pandemic. When I have got books from the library, the thing what is not, I mean, what I'm not understanding is some of the books. Uh, so they are saying, for example, like one book I have, it is saying the guided reading level as E and
Mm-hmm.
Lexile level as 260L. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but whereas another book, it is saying guided reading level F, but the Lexile level is 30L. So when there is a reading level F, obviously the Lexile level should be more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So yes, it just depends on who leveled the book. And I would talk to the librarian about that. They should be familiar with that, and you could show them that and see what they're saying. It's harder for me to say without seeing the book, but you are on the right track. If the letter is further in the alphabet, the Lexile should be higher.
okay, and can you suggest me, like, I mean, any particular series of the books which really matches with the reading levels of the dual public schools?
So finding those leveled books that are being read. I will get back. I will be able to add something to that somehow later, I think, to
Okay.
find that for sure for you, to see if I can find any books that are read aloud that are on those levels.
Yeah, and for example, why I'm asking is like I found based on the reading levels, I'm searching the books and I'm borrowing from the library. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the series what I found is Green Light Riders,
Mm-hmm.
Green Light Readers. So in that, like I'm I'm finding which matches to the age of 4 to 6 because she just turned 5. So like that, which matches to the dual public schools? Like, can you suggest me any series of the books? Like as I said, there is a series I can read. There is a series Green Light Readers. So there is a series. So many different series are there, which is apt for the dual public schools, so that my daughter can match to the school after she goes to the school back next year.
Okay. So let me just ask you a follow-up question to that. If
Mhm.
you're looking for a leveled reader, you would look for a level that she could read herself. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that is also, yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And what matches, like, I mean, I'm not understanding what is the, see, as I said, like now for F, they are saying 30L. For the
Mm-hmm.
level E, they are saying it is different, which is higher
Mm-hmm.
number. So I'm not understanding what is accurate also. So I'm not understanding what book I have to borrow for my daughter. And what you asked is a correct question, because some of the books which are level E are
Mm-hmm.
very typical than if they are on the level G or something.
Mm. So they'd seem harder, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, some she is able to read some books which are on level G very easily than few series books which are on level E itself.
Mm.
That technically it shouldn't be like that, right?
Sometimes and sometimes no. It depends on who leveled the books. So publishers may have a different way of leveling. There's not really a standard. It's somewhat. But also, if you remember, I said your background knowledge will help you read easier. If you have a lot of background knowledge about a book, you'll be
Mhm.
able to read it easier. So those ones that seem like they should be harder, but she can read easily, she might just have a lot of background knowledge on them. Something we suggest to students is like a 5 finger rule. So
Uh-huh.
if they're reading a book, they're choosing a book, and you've kind of said, all right, this is your level, this is where you can read from.
Mhm.
They can keep track. If they come to a word they can't read, that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then 4, then 5. If they come to 5 words that are too hard for them to figure out on their own, that book is too hard and they should choose a different book.
Oh, that's a great suggestion. So
Mm-hmm.
in the whole book, if they are struck with 5 words
Mm-hmm.
which they cannot make out by phonetical
Mm-hmm.
sounds, then that is not her correct level. So I have to go little below.
A bit lower, but like you said, it's a little confusing. You're just shooting kind of in the middle with those lexile levels and those reading levels. That gives you a place to start. But if you find a book in there that's too hard, don't be afraid to go down. Or if you find a book that's too easy, don't be afraid to go up. That's just a general rule. And
Okay.
then I would say if the 5th word she found that she couldn't read was right towards the end of the book, I would keep going with it. But
Okay.
yeah, you want her to be able to pick those independently, and that's a good way for her to do it on her own and not need you.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming this evening. Have a great night.